Hail, good viewers and listeners in! The Assault class is sort of the jack of all trades in Battlefront 2. While it does excel at close-range attacking, it's decent in all situations with plenty of options for whatever range you're fighting at. Its signature Vanguard ability is a devastating one-hit killer, and is backed up by some pretty decent star cards. But how do you make best use of it all, you say? Well, let's dive right in and find out! Post-haste! Let's start out with the weapons. Truth be told, they're all pretty good. The default unlocked one is decent at all ranges, but doesn't really excel at any of them. The A280 is good at mid to long range, but suffers in close quarters due to its burst fire. Conversely, the CR2 is the best at close to mid-range, only really running into trouble at the longest of ranges, while the EL-16 is the best long-range option with the highest damage, but also suffers from the slowest fire rate, so it's not good in mid to close quarters. What was he thinking? Ah! My eyes! They've seen old Mavis naked, haven't they been tortured enough? What the hell? What happened while I was blind? How did I get covered in shit? Moving on to abilities. Vanguard, the signature assault skill, is a lethal shotgun which is a one-hit kill on most enemies at close range. It also gives you a speed boost which can get you to flanking positions post-haste, which is in fact the best way to use the skill. Find a popular choke point, then pop Vanguard and race around to the flank and take them all out. Surprise, motherfuckers! The default Vanguard is the best in my opinion, as it doesn't take up a card slot and also has a longer active time than any of the other options. Even the kill streak Vanguard, which replenishes the percentage of active time on each kill, doesn't last as long since it depletes faster when not getting kills. The recharge version, which replenishes your abilities, isn't worth the card slot unless you really love spamming nades, and the slug Vanguard just plain sucks. Despite its description, it doesn't seem to have any additional range, and since it trades buckshot for a slug, you have to be extremely precise with your shot placement, whereas the default Vanguard lets you fire all willy-nilly. Improved thermal detonator greatly boosts your grenade damage radius and is probably the best use of your left ability slot, but the acid launcher is a close second, what with its ability to control objectives and choke points. It's especially useful for keeping enemies away from an objective they have to interact with. Ion Grenade is not a great option for this slot, as it's not a one-hit kill even on the weakest vehicles. It doesn't disable them either, meaning your target will be able to immediately return fire. It is good for taking out turrets, but that's easy enough to do with your gun, so that alone doesn't make it worthwhile. Given the slow health regen in this game, Toughen Up is a great option for your right side slot, as it instantly begins regenerating your health the moment you activate it. This really helps you survive in situations where you're outnumbered. The default Scan Dart is a decent skill, however the improved version is a complete waste of a slot, as it barely adds any time at all unless it's fully upgraded. Besides, the best way to use Scan Dart is when you know an enemy is around, but you don't know their exact position, so you shouldn't really need it to be active for a long time anyway. Flash Pistol, oh boy! We're really scraping the bottom of the barrel now. I really don't understand the point of this thing. As a blaster, it's weak as shit, and despite flashing people right in the face from point-blank range, it doesn't seem to blind them. Come here, you fucker! Ah, fuck it! I'm not going to go into detail on the passive boost cards, as aside from Bounty Hunter, they're all outclassed by the active ability cards. I will, however, discuss the ones that are unique to each class, which in this case is Assault Training. It gives you a negligible amount of health back upon kills, but it's nowhere near as good as Toughen Up, which gives you constant and fast health regen for as long as it's active, without any additional stipulations. Hey, bro. Wait a minute. Wrong team. So what's my recommended setup then? Well, as usual, this comes with the caveat that you should always base your gear around the range you're most comfortable fighting at. Being an up-close and personal kind of guy, I normally run with the CR2 as my main weapon. In addition to being lethal at close range, it's decent at mid-range as well. I will sometimes swap to the EL-16 for maps with a lot of longer-range engagements like Jakku or Kashyyyk. I don't know how to pronounce it. The Wookiee one. Fuck. As for star cards, I usually go with improved thermal detonator, sometimes swapping it out for acid launcher depending on the map. I like toughen up for the quick healing since the default health regen takes way too long to kick in. And I always run with bounty hunter on all of my classes, as being able to play as a hero early is a big deal considering the limited amount of hero spots available later in rounds. And that's it! Better than the assault you get at the bar for looking at the wrong dude. Till next time, fare thee well, fuckers! If you enjoyed the video, please leave a comment and a like. It helps us get more exposure on the YouTubes. And while you're at it, why not subscribe? We put out shit like this every week.